Hello, this is Patrick. Welcome to Chart Built Wealth, Profitable Investing with Technical Analysis. I wanted to cover one of our buy recommendations. Doing very well. Had a big breakout week, up over 5%. I had recorded this earlier, and for some reason, a couple of the charts were not showing up. And I'm doing these individually now. I'm not going to do my six buy recommendations all in one. I think it's too much for people. So I'll break them out one by one and you can watch what you want. If you want to give me some feedback on that, that's great. So I'm re-recording this one and it is the iShares S&P GSCI Commodity Index. This is a broad-based index that gives you exposure everywhere in the commodity space, but also this is very heavily weighted towards energy. And as followers of mine would know over the last couple of years, I've been bullish on gold, silver, copper, platinum, uranium recently, all the metals group, but they're sky high. There's a lot of chasing going on and a lot of overly bullish sentiment right now. So I would not recommend buying a precious metal fund, but having a little exposure in an index like this is probably a nice way to diversify your portfolio. And you should have commodities in your portfolio, as I've been stressing over the last couple of years. I believe the value of digital assets, technology type things over the last, God, I don't know, 10, 15 years, 20 years, is not as popular, is not as precious as commodities, things you can hold in your hand, gold, silver, uh, rare earth minerals, uh, energy, all those things that, with all the protectionism and countries trying to be independent and less of a global marketplace, these things are being hoarded. And so I think the value of them are going to be really good going forward. And so let's take a look at this commodity index. So this is really, there's GSG is 70% energy. The Reuters Commodity Index, DBC, is about 40% energy. I chose this because I think you're just starting to see the next leg up in energy as crude oil had a good week last week and natural gas was up, I don't know, 60% last week. So, I think these are things you want to get involved in. So this is very heavy on energy and agriculture, 16%, industrial metals, copper, bullish on copper for sure. Aluminum, yes. Industrial metals um, look good. Livestock, I don't really have an opinion on. Precious metals, it gives you some exposure, which is probably the right amount at this point since they're so high. Having some exposure is a good thing. So I like the weighting of this ETF. And this is the big picture stuff on it. This goes back to 2003. Each candlestick represents a month of price action. And it's no wonder that in 2008, this this commodity ETF peaked. That's when oil hit $140 a barrel. And when Goldman said it was going to 200, of course, they were uh, right up in the mania frenzy of it all. And it marked a top. And we went into a big bear market in this commodity index and in energy. What I So as a market technician, we're trying to identify new trends at an early stage and then stay with those trends until they change. Well, I think we've identified a new one, at least for a while. uh, I look in my toolbox for tools to use to put the puzzle together of all this. And one that I like to use for cycles and changes of trend is the Elliott wave theory, which believes that trends go in waves of five, with one, three, and five in the direction of the bigger trend, and 2 and 4 are counter trend reactions. So if the trend is up, 2 and 4 are down, all within an uptrend. And here's in a bear market, 1, 3, and 5, and 2 and 4 are counter trend reactions. So I think we completed our first leg up, whether it's a wave one or A is yet to be determined. But what we know is after a correction, and this was a correction in the form of a triangle, a consolidation sideways, which shows a sign of strength. It wasn't an ABC correction down. We broke out last week, and we're starting our third or our C wave up, which will be another 5 wave advance. And if it's a third wave, what we know about third waves and followers of my channel know is that I try to identify third waves because they're the most powerful, the most profitable, and you want to get in front of those. Looking in the downtrend, what the third wave did. See there, it's the biggest move. So that's what we're hopefully going to see, and that's big picture stuff. So let's take a closer look at this triangle and see. It looks small on that chart, but actually this was a 2.5 year pattern, almost 3 years in the making, in the form of a symmetrical triangle. And we broke out, and it was a fake breakout. We came back down. It gave me a chance to buy. I did. And then there's been this wrestling match between bulls and bears. Which ways are going to go? They're fighting it out. And what happens in these consolidations, these triangles, is that they generate energy in them. So there's this fighting going on and on and on. And when it finally breaks out, in this case, it broke up. So anybody that's short this index or short energy, they get squeezed and they got to cover, and it causes an acceleration on the upside. So I've moved my stop now from, I think it was 21.5 to 22.5, just to protect our principal there. But when you measure the base of this triangle and you project it up, you get a $31 price projection, which at the time of this breakout was 35%. I don't know what it would be now, 25%. And again, these are landing areas. They tend to be pretty accurate, but again, it's just a landing space, meaning that this thing's going higher. The gold breakout of of its triangle, and silver, they've blown way past their price projections. So this looks really good. The struggle, these fake breakouts, da 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 da. But last week being up 4%, I think I said 5%. I'm sorry, 4% last week. That's a good start. We're nowhere overbought yet. We're nowhere, up around 80 or 90 on this thing. So it should be able to go higher before we have any kind of a pullback. So it looks really good. Thank you for watching Chart Built Wealth, Profitable Investing with Technical Analysis. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends and neighbors, family, anybody. Adios.